And now, with Robert Ramirez, Stacy Hindler, Larry James, and Jeff Coach, this is the news.
Hello, everyone. What started out as a normal school day ended in death for 19 children. A school bus loaded with teenagers plunged into a caliche pit filled with water. Passers-by jumped into the murky water to try and save those helpless students. One of those who survived is 16-year-old Alex De Leon, a sophomore at Mission High School, and he says just as quickly as the bus hit the water, it started filling up.
Hit the water. You're just scared, because you hit impact and the water, you can feel the water, in your feet. I just got, look at me, I'm all dirty. So I just got up, opened the window, and I thought about my sister. I looked back, and she had, just a lip, and come on, started crying to ground.
This is the worst school bus accident in Texas history. The big question, of course, is what exactly happened at 7:40 this morning when the bus fell into that caliche pit. Channel 4's Scott Logan was one of the first reporters on the scene. He is standing by at the Mission Community Center where families have been gathering to learn more about that wreck. Scott, what have you learned today?
Robert, I learned it was a sad day. At 7:40 this morning, Mission School Bus number 6 was carrying 80 students to Mission Junior High and High School. It was traveling west on 5 Mile Line when it was struck by a northbound Coca-Cola truck. That Coca-Cola truck was traveling on Bryan Road. The school bus plunged off a 40-foot embankment into a caliche pit full of water, and the nightmare began.
Hello, my name is Alexander Ruiz de Leon. This is an event that happened in my life here in Alton, Texas in 1989, September the 21st. I was involved in a bus accident. 21 of my friends passed away on that day. 19 on that same day. 2 passed away a few days later. It was an early morning here in Alton, Texas. We waited for the bus out there on Bryan Road, and we waited pretty long because the bus was taking its time. But when it arrived, we take a loop, and I remember vividly as a young boy getting on the bus and talking with my friends as a normal day about what we were gonna do that day. And a lot of people were screaming, boys and girls. It was junior high and high school students all together. And I remember, everybody having a good time in the morning on the bus because we would always make a lot of noise. And we went around the block from 6 Mile Line into Stewart. And well, nobody expected this. Nobody expected this was going to happen. But we hit a truck, a beverage truck. It somehow, that truck lost its brakes, and the impact hit the bus, and it careened us into this caliche pit. And that's the moment it changed everybody's life. And it changed mine, of course, drastically. I lost a lot of friends. I got to see what life was, what life is. And it changed my life course forever. And I remember the bus going down into the water and hitting a nosedive. And the screaming and the noise stopped for about 2 seconds. And as we waited for the bus to see which side it was going to turn, we all looked at each other like, what was happening? And the water was filling up in the front windshield into the bus, and the bus was like this. And so we didn't know which side to go to, and all of a sudden the bus went to its left side. And that's when the water started filling into the bus, and people were scrambling to get out. And I remember my sister sitting on the left side of the bus. I was on the right side. And when the impact hit, she flew over a seat. And I remember we looked at each other. And when the bus hit sideways, I grabbed her. I picked her up and I put her over the window. And by then my knees were getting water. I was getting water, so I picked myself up into the window and pulled myself out. And I remember that the noise began again, the screaming, and the bus was on its side. And I had already pulled my sister up, and I pulled myself up. And as we were walking along the bus, you could see people trying to get out. And in those days, the bus had the windows with these clasps, and you had to put your hands and snap them and open them down, and it would lock. If it didn't go all the way down, it would lock in a certain space. So we had to make sure that we had to open it all the way. And by then, the bus was full of water, and you could see people. I could see my friends. Some of my friends that I remember pulling out. And you could see some of them struggling trying to get out and couldn't open the windows. And then the faces would disappear into the murky water. And I remember throughout that time when we were having all these friends, we're pulling them out. We're lined up on the bus along the windows, and we're wondering what to do because we're in the middle of the water. It's a few feet away before you get to the shore. But I remember a man, and his name's Roque Sosa, and he was screaming my name from the top of the cliff, and he was saying, "Nadala, Alex, nadala," and I looked up, and I could see him, but I couldn't see what he was on, and he threw something down, which I thought was a rope, and when I swam across and I got to it was two water hoses tied together, and he pulled me up. And as he's pulling me up, he's pretty strong. And then when I got to the top, he was on top of a horse. He was pulling me with a horse, pulling me out. And I was the first one out of there. And I remember a border patrolman telling me, "Don't leave, stay right here." And I just kept looking towards my mom's house. And I remember running. I ran. And I come to my mom's house, and I start banging on the door. And I asked my mom, tell my mom that the bus fell. And my mom thought, it probably fell somewhere nearby, and she didn't know there wasn't a caliche pit. And we drove over there, and I took her over there, and it changed my life, and it made me sad. My mom asking me about my sister, and my sister was on top of the bus, and my mom looking down, and it was a pretty sad day. Right. So in '89, before the bus hit the Dr. Pepper truck, these lights weren't here. These lights up here, there was only two stop signs, one for each side of this street. This is Bryan Road. This is 5 Mile Line. None of this was here. No guardrails, no lights. It was a stop sign and a stop sign for either or coming this way. As we were riding down this street here on 5 Mile Line, I recall the brakes. You can feel the brakes a little bit, but the bus was kind of heavy because of all the students. But as we passed, the Dr. Pepper truck passed. It hit the bus in the front, and it sent us this way. As it whipped, as the tail of the trailer whipped, it sent the bus this way, right straight into here. This wasn't here. These guardrails, the memorial here wasn't here, but we went straight, right here, and almost like a movie. You can hear the kids screaming. You can hear a lot of commotion, and this wasn't here. These guardrails weren't here. All this stuff was wide open. It was in a wide open pit. This fence wasn't here, and if you look down, we went straight down, and the bus, when it landed on its nose, and it stood like that for about 15 to 20 seconds, and then it laid on its left side, and that's when all the commotion started again, and everybody trying to scramble out of the bus. And I remember the bus driver, because the windshield popped in, and I remember him. He was bloody, and he kept saying that it wasn't his fault. Que no mi culpa, Alex, no mi culpa. And we're trying to get the majority of the students that are coming out to get out of the bus. This is the actual pit. This is the actual area where the bus landed. Where that brush is over there, I brought you down here so you can see the actual area where the bus landed. From up on top of that fence, it almost jumped like a car. And as big as the bus was and heavy as it was, it landed pretty far in. And when we landed, it almost tilted to the side. And that brushy area right there is where the bus was at. And all the students were scrambling to get out of the water. I mean, you can still see the windows. You can see people trying to get out. So we try to help, me and the older kids were trying to help most of the people get out. We open the windows for them and try to pull them out. And the water started smelling like diesel. And this water's murky. This is old water that's been here, it's been there forever. And as we're coming out, the man that was standing on top was asking me to come swim to the side. He's saying, "Nadala, Alex, nadala." So I swim to the side. After I pulled out my sister, I asked her to stay on top of the bus. And I remember this was a little bit deeper though. The water was a little bit deeper. I got to swim up to the edge over there, and he threw the water hose. I thought it was a rope, but he threw it down. I grabbed it. He's pulling me up, and I'm saying, "Man, this guy's strong." But when I got up to the top, he was on a horse. And it amazed me that he actually got me out, and he was there for me. A God-sent angel, I guess, and I got out and I ran. But this is the area, and you could feel the eeriness because it's so desolate and lonely now. And when the screaming began again, the bus was tilted to its side, and all these kids, all me too, because I thought I was gonna die, and we're alive, and when it hit, I remember we getting out, and I remember clearly, and I believe it was David, the young boy that died, and he said, I'm gonna go back in there to get my brother. I'm gonna go in there and get back my brother. And when he went back inside the bus, inside the water, he never came back out.
Since we had you home, out there on your own, but you live on. I know you could have been so much more, but you were taken away from me. We only got one place to go, yeah, when you're finally free. We ain't got no place to run. We'll meet again when His kingdom come. Eternal life with the Holy One, yeah, when you're finally free. I wonder what if things were different. Still have you by my side instead of somewhere in the distance. I know it was an accident, but lost you in an instant. Still think about that morning, wish somehow you would've missed it. Forever 21 on September 21st. There's no time that can heal the pain, cause every year is worse. I wish it didn't have to be this way and everything okay, but this isn't where we're meant to stay, so live me every day. You should pray. You know with me this doesn't last forever. Since you've been gone, we all miss you now more than ever. Sometimes we pay for someone else's error, holding on to every moment that we spent together. Wish there was something I could do to help ease the hurt. You only get to live me once here on planet Earth, but we know that you living on. Got no choice while we waiting but to stay strong.